live action of the 579 sites being built. I just think that would be stellar.
Hell yeah. Well, let's just for 10-minute segments, let's go to Site 5.
So what?
Site 5.
Oh, Site 5. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, okay, last missile blows up, Site 5, March 64. Chalifo, the second squadron commander, gets relieved. Okay. He gets shipped off to the Azores, which I kind of chuckled. I mean, ultimately, it's just it was provided water from the water treatment facility at Site 4. Site 4 got the water from the Pecos River. It was pumped through a 4-inch casing all the way from the river, which is east of Roswell, and then pumped up the hill all the way to us, where it went through our treatment facility, and then was pumped on to Site 5. I mean, when we did a lot of the testing at 5, she's got a little bit of water in her, maybe, I don't know, 30, 40 feet. It has high concentrated levels of chlorodyne, which was basically an ant killer. So we could get into which is very typical. When the salvagers went through, Bryce, they cut all of the exterior lines below grade.
And they put ant killer in there.
When monsoon rains, it fills up and it floods.
Why the hell is ant killer in there?
Well, it could be because the Air Force had an ant problem and they used a lot of chlorodyne. And then, of course, through the years, it's all leached into, because of every annual rainfall or monsoon rains, it just runs into the silo.
So you're talking operational and they did that?
Yeah, but I mean, it sat in the ground, and then once, because keep in mind, they were only operational for 2 years. After that, everything went to basically hell in a handbasket. I mean, when I played in these sites in the 70s, these were wide open. They were abandoned. Okay? And I mean, to be very frank with you, I mean, the New Mexico State Police knew we were out here. We also weren't stupid. I mean, it's, I see some of these kids and just, oh, Lord, I don't know how they're going to make it through life. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but sometimes I kind of just, when you see some of the stupid stuff they're doing, and of course, it could be said of us. I mean, I've had a lot of the old timers go, God, you kids were stupid to do what you did. And maybe they're right. I mean, come on, we'd go to the bottom of these silos, Bryce, in a heartbeat. Okay? We wouldn't think anything of it. I mean, we were all little adrenaline junkies. I mean, we were. So I don't know. I mean, after that was Site 5, and when she blew up, she was basically, I don't know, sealed up. And then when Bill bought it 20-some years ago, 23, Bill hired me to do all the cleanup on the inside.
Nice.
We backlit the electrical from one of our power plants up on the surface. That's how pristine that was.
Damn.
She even had her toilets. The commodes were still there.
Damn. How about the galley?
Yeah, I got the kitchen cabinets. I need to go back and get them after 20-some years. I took them down in sections because they were the last remaining cabinets of the 579. And I took them down in sections because I had a pretty good crew when we were doing that job. And everybody laughed at me. I said, I don't care how long this takes. We're going to take very, very good care of these because they're the last cabinets ever. And they were just simply a plywood cabinet. I mean, the Air Force didn't go to great expense, on these cabinets. But my position is they're the only ones left, And for the longest time, I was going to use them in the kitchen for the Airbnb unit, but since I haven't, I'm putting the new kitchen for my wife and I and her cousin that's here when my wife doesn't come in. My wife comes in every other week.
Nice.
And her cousin is here with me just because I have difficulty walking. So he's also does all of the handyman stuff for me on the Airbnb side. Well, we're going to put in a kitchen downstairs, and I'm going to use those cabinets. I want to use those. That to me is the real meaning. Okay. I will have the last kitchen cabinets ever of the 12 Atlas F sites. So
that's awesome.
But there's 6 inches of concrete poured over the entryway door, and obviously the cabinets are too big to get them through the escape shaft. And that's, of course, how we have to enter. And so I'm going to do that. I'm also missing the cross pieces. I have the stanchions for the upper level versus the lower level. I don't have the cross pieces. I brought over already 2 of them, and I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of them for my lower level. And like the inside of the upper level is the escape shaft, is the trap door. Okay. That entire unit. I have one of those, and I've given that to David Johnson because David doesn't have one at his site in Oklahoma. And so it's kind of fun. Once we get to know these site owners, things start to, you trade. I have this, you need something. Like I have the door mechanisms to all of the blast doors.
That's awesome.
Extra handles, extra locking mechanisms. Because, come on, you can't go to your local machinist and say, can you give me a locking mechanism for an Atlas F blast door? And, I can't fathom what that would cost to have them, custom make that.
Yeah, imagine Titan 1.
Yeah, it's so what did I get in exchange? David gave me, he had the original glass that went into the custom steel frames into the concrete of the entryway when you're going down the concrete stairs.
Nice.
I'd never seen, I got one out of Site 5. I even got an original that still had the light bulb. And I got a 200 watt light bulb, right? And I got the light bulb and the piece of glass.
200 watt?
I'm sorry?
200 watt?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And of course, David had a complete set, so he gave me the complete set. I am so afraid. This is really kind of comical. The steel frame was such thin tin metal, right? That, through the years it rusts, and I'm worried of putting this glass back in it and it not being able to support it. And then, the glass falls out and breaks. I never could find the glass again. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm in this, I'm looking over at him now on the lower level. I've got him on this little stand, and I have him wrapped in a blanket, or a towel, and I'm duct taped, and, I'm like, God, don't touch those. Nobody touches those.
I do the same thing.
You never get to them. It's just not going to happen. And so that's where we're at. Maybe, hopefully this summer, I'm going to open up the doorway, the kitchen cabinets, and it's been a long time. I haven't been in the Site 5 since the last missile squadron was here, and it seems like just ages and ages ago.
Just a couple years ago.
Yeah. They said it was going to be their last one, and I was very sorry to. But, obviously the other side of that is they're losing so many people because obviously they're so old. Nature of the beast.
Yeah, the original guys are not gonna be here too. I mean, Titan 2 is okay. I'll tell you this. I'll tell you a little story. I was going to work the other day at my job, that you know, and I pulled out, and he's in this Jeep. I pulled right behind this Jeep. He's got Titan 2. He's got like a cover on his back tire.
Nice.
On the back of his Jeep, he's got like a cover on his tire. And it says, I don't think it said Titan 2. It says something, Air Force something. But his license plate was Titan 2. So you got somebody all the way on the East Coast out here on Carolina. That dude was probably, he was probably Titan 2 missile air.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not going to stop him at 6 o'clock.
You're always going to find tons and tons, Bryce, of the maintenance guys.
Well, it's maybe so. Hell, he may have been a missileer though. I don't know, but
absolutely.
Will I stop him at 6 a.m.?
We all call them missileers because look, they all got pocket rockets.
Yeah.
Okay. So, at least back then, and then of course, it's like anything. The Air Force changed, and then you had operational distinguished versus maintenance. But originally it was all the same. Guys all got the same ones. So,
they were wearing.
No, go ahead.
They were wearing white before they were blue.
Yeah, that's very, very true. The reason but you have to understand why I say blue suits. It's for their dress uniform. It was a phrase that I met one of the launch guys that was on Quick Start, the first missile launch from 576 Bravo in April of 60. Okay. And his point was that was just the terminology he always used, that this was the first true blue suit launch. Okay. And even though the distinction goes to, the 576, alphas on the gantries, but from what he was telling me, he says, Gary, if you go back and look at the logs, and he says, I have, there was too much. It was all GDA personnel looking over their shoulder. But again, that's one individual telling me that. Okay. And I'm certainly not in any way, shape, or form saying it's not true.
Yeah.
It's just, I just remember the phraseology.
I fantasize about like the white suits, and I see that snow-covered thing at Plattsburgh. The guys out there, and they're in white suits. That's cool to me.
Oh yeah. If anything, I personally give the guys a lot of credit for and believe it or not, those Air Force, the white coveralls, those were just dicky white coveralls. That's what the Air Force used. We had one combat crew commander. He was so gung-ho. He even made the guys wear combat boots, and they tucked their pant legs into their boots. It was really good. God, I like that guy. I like talking to him. And it's just different things. I got a great picture of him, getting out of the Jeep with his crew. And they were really, man, it was just like, they were going to take it to you.
When do you think Atlas F took over blue coveralls versus white?
Well, keep in mind they went to then the blue two-piece uniform. Well, never at F's. It was always white. Okay.
Oh, okay.
By 65, I am not sure of the
66.
year. I don't know if it was like 68 or 70.
Damn.
I think then they went to the fatigues that were blue.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until, I'm not even sure, then they went from the blue fatigues to the blue coveralls.
To the green.
Exactly. When I went to Vandenberg in 2000, they were just switching from the blue coveralls to the greens.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure what they were now. I'm not sure of anything structurally with Space Command now. Because, see, it's all changed.
Well, you say late 60s, they went from white to blue. And then late 90s, they went from blue to green.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty interesting back then, of course, all the whites. I mean, it's, But then again, that was only on the lunch group. Okay. When you saw your maintenance personnel from the maintenance units of the 579s doing work, they were all in green fatigues.
Yeah.
Okay. So
that just makes the white much more special.
Yeah. No, I'd agree with that. I mean, absolutely. And of course, then they had the helmets.
Yeah.
And then they wore the little, what we call the Dickies, the ascots. Okay.
Blue helmets.
Yep. And I mean, I've got one on display here. It was from the EPPT, the Electro Power Production Tech at Site 3. I have Dennis Chamberlain is his name. I have his on display. And of course, it was just the blue helmet, and then you had the 579, and it was a decal that was put on it, and then you had their name was underneath it. And so
that kicks ass.
I always thought that was pretty neat. So
it just makes it so compact to this, not brigade, but this squadron. This is your decal. This is your logo. Just like they did with...
And see, Terry Corellis, I think that's how they pronounce his name. I mean, I met him. He is the one that developed the patch of the 579. And he was on, I'm not sure he was on launch crew or he was on a maintenance unit that's a 579. But anyway, one of the reunions when they gave me one of the bronze plaques, it was a big one. Terry designed all of that. Terry's the one that, and I think he was kidding me, won $100 or a $10. I don't remember how big a savings bond when his drawing was chosen as to become, and Department of Air Force signed off on it, to become the unit badge for the 579.
That's pretty damn cool.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And other than that, I mean, for a time, because keep in mind, only 2 years in operation, a lot of them were wearing just the bomb wing patches.
Right.
Like for here at Walker, it was the 6th bomb wing. And then after, it became the 6th Strategic Aerospace Wing. So. And see, the 6th bomb wing was a pirate. It's really cool, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, so you see this pirate, right, with the gear. I mean, the whole thing is his face. It was really kind of cute.